Hey, today I'm going to talk about late nights, partying. Well, actually, not so much partying, more just the process of going out and playing gigs. Because the thing is, what I've discovered is that to sing well, I need to have a healthy routine. And that means going to bed at a sensible time, getting up at a sensible time, eating at reasonably regular times, not drinking. And it seems like going out and touring, especially, is just complete anathema to that. It just completely destroys it. But the problem is, if that destroys it, then I'm not going to be able to sing very well because I don't have my routine, which was the whole reason I had that routine in the first place. So, what do I do? What do I do? Um, just a disclaimer. I mean, I wouldn't play more than a gig a week normally. I do two under duress. It's part of the reason I teach, actually. Like a really big part of the reason I teach is so that I can be at home, be with my family, be healthy. Um, and I get a buzz from a singing lesson that I give. Probably I'd have to have a very, very good gig to have a better buzz than that, honestly. But I've got my music to share, and I can't share that in a singing lesson more than a certain percentage before people start getting annoyed with me. So it has to be a balance for me. But what it does mean, I'm not one of those artists who's out touring for months and months on end, like 4 5 nights a week. I don't do that at this point in my life anyway. Um, so I mean, my strategies are more towards the occasional gigger, and I think that this comes into the first point I was going to make, that if you are like me and you only do say one gig a week, then what's going to work really well for you is to have a really good base routine. So like bed by 9:30. Like, I'm not kidding, 9 actually. That's really good. I live in Italy, in Tuscany, in the mid area of Italy, and my God, they go to bed at 10, 11, 12. People just go to bed so late habitually, and they eat so late as well. And I find it, I'm unusual in England for how strict I am with this, but actually here I'm just, I practically don't exist on the kind of normal distribution curve. But nevertheless, that's going to bed at that time in the evening. Just it suits your circadian rhythm. I don't know why that is. I don't understand the science, but the hours of sleep that you get before midnight are really quite important. And having like a quiet bedtime routine as well. All those things that you don't get when you go out and play gigs, basically. Having that 5 days out of 7, 6 days out of 7 will serve you incredibly well for the day where you go out and play. And what I found actually on that one day when I go out and play is that, or 2 days maybe, if I don't, I drink coffee, right? If I don't have my coffee in the morning, but I have it late afternoon on the day that I go out and play, I'm well awake and I'm absolutely fine. Then the next day, I'll skip my morning routine, get an extra hour's sleep, and then just sort of shuffle around bringing my son into school or whatever. So the next day's not very pretty, but I can get some work done. I'm very tired in the evening, fine. Most of the time, that's fine. That works for 1 or 2 nights a week. If you need more than that, you're probably going to have to adjust your daily routine and make it closer to the whatever it is, 2 a.m. finally crawl into bed kind of situation, and that's just reality. I would say I don't know how long a human being can keep that up and stay in one piece and still sing well. It certainly wouldn't be very long for me, I don't think. But I do find when I've been playing more often, I actually have to start adjusting my routine to that, and that can be very difficult when you've got a family. But just the shock of doing 3 nights a week of one routine and then 3 nights a week of other, you're practically a shift worker. Not quite, but that's not really doable. So you have to move your routine towards the the late nights as a general thing if you're going to do more than say 2 or 3 nights a week. I think in reality. Um, so yeah, I mean that's the late nights side of it. There's something else actually. When I go out in the evening, I will take with me a very strong ginger and honey tea. I kid you not. I've got a little flask thing that's about this big, and I'll just use about that much ginger, chop it into small pieces, leave it there boiling on the stove for like 25 minutes or something, stick half a teaspoon of honey in there. Sometimes that turns into a teaspoon if I'm feeling a bit like I'm craving it. And it's really hydrating because it's got the honey in it, which is really good. It'll hydrate you far more than water. Like, I don't get this thing about constantly knocking back water. I really don't. I think you need something like sort of green juice or bone broth, or things that have got some substance to them as well, because then your body actually picks them up. Otherwise you're just going to be peeing all night basically, which is not much fun. So I'm not one of these singers who's just downing buckets and buckets of water. But nevertheless, this ginger tea, you can sip it quite regularly and it will hydrate you, and it'll keep your vocal cords nice and wet, and the honey is lovely on your vocal cords. The other thing that ginger tea does, it's pretty good at neutralizing cold viruses. There's been plenty of research on what it can do in a petri dish, and it's a little bit more complicated when it comes to actual human animals. But I would say in my experience, I take juiced ginger when there's a really serious cold bug around, and it generally protects my voice. But I suspect, anyway, I can't exactly prove this, but if I drink it when I'm going out and I'm meeting a load of people and just sip it, it just kills anything that gets into my upper respiratory tract quite efficiently, really. And it's especially good during winter. I'm practically, like with my 9-year-old son coming home with colds constantly, I'm pretty much taking it preventatively all winter. That seems to be necessary these days. What else have we got here on my little notes thing? Yeah, I'm careful how much and how loud I talk, because it can be so much fun to like natter away with people, and you just in a bar with music on, you end up shouting. And I never do my voice any damage at all singing now. I just don't. It's absolutely fine to sing all day, but actually trying to shout over music in a bar, I can do myself some harm still. And so, paying attention to how I'm talking, paying attention to how far away I am from people, paying attention to how much I'm talking, you just don't ruin your voice before you start your performance. And it's really hard, I know, but it's worth paying attention to for sure. I made some notes here. See, this doesn't come off the tip of my tongue, this one. Oh yeah, okay, so another thing I do, I'm quite sensitive to electric lights, and I'm okay in a pub bar environment where the lights are reasonably low and I can be there for a few hours. But what I do find is, here in Italy at least, the trains have lights about that far away from your head, that absolutely bright strip lighting, and that for like 20 minutes on the train before and after a gig, and maybe you have some equivalent in the setting that you're in, that will produce quite serious facial tension and headaches in me. Doesn't do much, and probably for most people it would disrupt their sleep, but it doesn't do a damn to me with that. My sleep is absolutely solid. I can sleep in a airport departure lounge on the floor, no problem. So yeah, the sleep effect of the lighting actually might be a consideration for some people. It isn't for me, but what is just the sheer unnatural electric blue light just plain gives me a headache and makes my face really tense. So on the way to and from gigs, I'll be wearing blue light blocker glasses, and it just is absolutely fantastic. It just solves that problem. And the lousy lighting that they have at the gig, I can just about deal with, and that's not a problem. What I can't deal with is having it sandwiched with having a massive strip lighting about half a foot away from my head. So it's lots of details, it's lots of little things. I don't eat when I'm out playing. I literally don't eat and I guess that might not actually be possible for some people. Some people might struggle with blood sugar levels and may need to snack on something. So maybe you've got to think about what you snack on. I think anything that they feed you or give you to drink in a bar is almost certain to be junk and just is going to do you harm, basically, because it's all there to addict you and make you drink more or eat more and bring you back. Yeah, do another episode on food. But yeah, I mean, if you can get away with it, just don't eat or drink. Have your ginger tea, you know, enough to get you through the night, depending on how hot it is, and don't eat, because just focus on the music. You know, that's what you're there for. Focus on the people if that's fun and enjoyable for you. But like the food is for another day. You know, you've got music to play. It's important. I hope that gave you some ideas to help. Bye for now.